everyone, and welcome to my manga video for the first half of July. So this is all the stuff I got in the mail in the last 2 weeks or so. Not too much this pickup video, just because I'm not quite sure. Haven't really received much. It's been a bit of a slower month for me. But hopefully there will be some things that you're interested in any case. First of all is not really manga, but I'm going to show it off anyway. And that is Koji Kumeta's The First and Last Art Book, Kuigaiten. So from this you can probably recognize, this is the artist who is most famous for Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, but also has worked on a lot of other things, most notably one of my favorite shows, The Eccentric Family, and this just has a whole bunch of his artwork, and it also comes with a poster of the actual dust jacket itself. It's very clever. But yeah, if you're a fan of any of Kumeta's work, especially Zetsubo Sensei, then you will be very happy with this release. There's so much different sort of art, and in his very, very identifiable style. But yeah, as you can see, there's Genshiken, there's oh, what's her name? I can never remember. Later on, there's also, if I can find it, Eccentric Family is back here. I probably went too far. Here we go. So there's not a huge amount of the Eccentric Family in there, but I am a big fan of Kumeta's style anyway. Underneath there is that. And for this is a just newly released book, so it's still fairly easy to find on Amazon Japan, CD Japan, all those sorts of websites. So if you're interested, go check it out. It's not too expensive either for what it is. So on to manga proper. Only 3 volumes, all from Viz, and there's a bit of a mix here. So first of all are some things you would have seen in my first manga wrap-ups video, and that is volume 1 of Haikyuu, so the extremely popular sports story by Haruichi Furudate. I'm a big fan of Haikyuu. The manga is very charming, has a lot of fun and genuinity to it, if that makes sense. And people complain about the art, but I have absolutely no problem with it. I don't really know what they're talking about. They say goofy faces and stuff, but I think that is a lot of the point for Haikyuu. You're not meant to, I don't know. This isn't a series you take overly seriously. There is a lot of humor to it, just embed into the story itself. And then the other manga you would have seen if you watched my midweek manga wrap-up is Muggy, or Magi, whatever, volume 18, so the end of the most recent battle. Lots of Phanera stuff, as you can see. Magi is a fairly good shonen, not one of my favorites. I don't think I love it as much as a lot of people do, but I'm always interested to see where the story goes, and knowing that the story is ending soon, I do want to see how it finishes. But as this volume on its own, it's very, very good. I thought the situation resolved itself in a very interesting way that you don't necessarily see in shonen. And it's the politics is still very much at the forefront of the series, despite this being kind of more of a shonen battle manga. But yeah, Muggy, if you're reading it, obviously keep picking it up. It's very good. As the shonen goes, it's fairly fun, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where the next volumes head. And finally, for this month, like I said, very small amount of pickups so far, is actually a josei, newly released by Viz, and that is Everyone's Getting Married, Volume 1. So this story is about this girl here who is extremely I say girl, she's a young woman, but very, very highly respected in her job. She has a very good job, very well paid, and she's very good at her job, but she has always dreamed of getting married and becoming a housewife and, raising a family, which isn't necessarily what a lot of people aspire to, and it's not necessarily condoned by a lot of women who think that, that's just such a waste of your life. Like, you could be earning money, be independent, don't have to, listen to anyone else, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, it's handled very, very well. Like, it's not a be-all, end-all situation, but and her best friend is very much that. She never wants to get married. She likes her job. She likes where she's working, and doesn't really have any future aspirations to get married, or at least not at the age she is at the moment. But she meets this young man. He's kind of very well respected. He's just moved back to Japan from working overseas, and he is a news reporter. He reports news, obviously, as news reporters do. And they meet at a wedding from a mutual friend, and they kind of bump into each other, and they have some good chemistry, but they realize that she's very focused on wanting to get married, and he has kind of sworn off marriage. He never wants to get married. So they realize, even though they have kind of good chemistry and similar tastes and stuff, they're not very compatible in that sense. They don't have that kind of issue. They don't agree on that issue, so they don't think it'll work out. It's really, like I said, really well balanced. They have both sides and both genders on both sides as well. So even though this male main character doesn't want to get married, his roommate very much so does want to get married. And similarly, just because this young woman wants to get married, her best friend doesn't. And I think marriage is a very hotbed topic for a lot of people. For my personal experience, my best friend, who I went to high school with, it just got married earlier this year. And in my opinion, it was very, very early for her to get married. We're not particularly old. But it was her decision. Her partner and her are very happy. I'm not worried about them, but it was that if I was given that decision, I wouldn't necessarily want to be getting married so young. I think you can be in a relationship for a long time with somebody without having to worry about marriage for a while. But again, that's coming from my perspective, where my parents got married very a lot later than most people of their generation, and not because of past marriages or anything like that. They just chose to wait quite a long time. They say they had fun before they got married, which is very true. They traveled the world. They had their own businesses. They did a lot of things. They went on a lot of trips. And because once you get married, that doesn't mean you necessarily rush into kids or anything, but a lot of people have that expectation of once you get married, then you have kids and you have to settle down and do everything else. My parents were very much the opposite of that. They waited to get married and then they waited to have kids. So from meeting each other until I was born, I'm the first child. It was 10 years before that happened. So I come from that perspective of you don't have to be married to be in a happy relationship, and then you don't have to rush into certain responsibilities just because you've gotten married. And at the same time, you shouldn't get married if you don't want to be married. So it's a really interesting topic, and I think this manga handles it very well. Izumi Miyazono has shown a very good balance of both sides and given good and understandable reasoning for both sides. Yeah, so this first volume has been really good. The title is probably a little off-putting for some people, but it's a great josei. The art is fairly I'll show the back because I've just been holding the front there. Fairly standard, but serviceable, nice. Nothing too, you know, unexpected there. But yeah, it does its story and themes very well, and I definitely say try and pick it up if you're a josei fan, if you've been wanting something, you know, a new josei to get into. This one is definitely worth the read, and I look forward to how the story develops in the next couple of volumes. I'm not quite sure how many volumes are out in Japan so far, but I know it's more than 3 or 4. But yeah, so that's pretty much, well, that's all the manga I got this month. And of course the art book. So it's been a very, very small amount of things for me to read lately. And so yeah, nothing too complicated there. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the next pickup video will probably have more than this. I'm not sure at this point, but hopefully. There are quite a few things I'm waiting for in the mail, so they've just taken longer than usual to get here, so I should have more next time. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye till then!